So we're gonna do this video. Apparently, there's some anti-war protests in Israel. Hundreds gather in Tel Aviv, France. This is by France 24 English. Um, don't get your hopes up, people. The Israeli populace is very much on board for this war. I think that they are willing to suffer uh, significantly for their racist Zionist Nazi beliefs. Like, when you are as like zealot like as the Israeli people, um, yeah, you're willing to sacrifice everything for like being able to kill brown people. Like you would like sacrifice your own son. Like you would literally slit your own son's throat if it meant you could kill more brown people. Like that's kind of the general mentality of the average Israeli. Um, and so when when you see things like this, these people out here protesting, which it is commendable because it's obviously the government is trying to tamp down any sort of anti-war movements or whatever. It is commendable, but it is only hundreds of people and not indicative of the greater populace. But let's see what some of these anti-war protesters have to say. We'll also see how they message about it because a lot of times they come from like not necessarily human rights perspective, but like usually kind of more of like a we don't want to die perspective. But let's see.
Lima Square, the placards of these protesters share the same message: stop the war with Iran. Several hundred gathered in the center of Tel Aviv to protest the conflict on Saturday.
We are 4 weeks into the war. That nobody actually know what is the aim of the war because
You and me both,
in the
brother.
beginning they said we are against the missiles, against the nuclear, maybe to take down the regime in Iran. But after 2 weeks, everybody understood that it's not going to happen.
These demonstrators hold Benjamin Netanyahu responsible for the war.
Oh, sorry, I got to go back and look at that. That's a funny one. What, is he like a baby? Benjamin Netanyahu is a baby, and then Trump's going maybe yes, maybe no. Wow.
These demonstrators hold Benjamin Netanyahu responsible for the war.
Obviously, I believe that this war is part of Bibi's game plan. I don't particularly fear the Iranians, and I think that he's led the world, or at least the Americans, into a very dangerous situation.
The Israeli authorities consider this demonstration illegal,
Of
as
course.
under wartime security guidelines,
Freedom of speech, right, people? Liberal democracy, right, people? Isn't this the only democracy in the Middle East? Yeah.
gatherings of more than
Same with us, right? When our cops go out there and brutalize our protesters for being anti-war or whatever. Yeah, this is classic, double think of Westerners to think that we have like a true, liberal democracy and free speech and all that.
50 people are prohibited. Security forces dispersed protesters in Tel Aviv, sometimes forcefully. Authorities say 13 people were arrested. Although small protests have been held weekly across the country since the 28th of February, Israeli public opinion remains overwhelmingly in support of the war. According to the Israeli Democracy Institute, only 11% of the population opposes it.
Oh, how much? Sorry, I was
The
looking this up.
Institute, only 11% of the population opposes it.
Yeah, see, it's gonna stay like that for a while. Now, maybe once they start running it out of interceptors, like once they start running out of interceptors and they're getting hit like, you know, like let's say 10, 20 missiles a day or something, right? Like,
We've been reporting
God,
Yemen's.
sorry. I keep like
Lima
clicking
Square.
this side button on my mouse and accidentally going back. But yeah, maybe like once they start getting like 10 or 20 missiles hitting their buildings a day or whatever, and they you start getting hundreds, if not thousands, of deaths. Then they might change their tune a little bit, especially if they don't see any strategic outcome. It's just kind of crazy to me because I feel like they legitimately in Israel think that they had like a strategic victory or something against like Hamas, like Hamas or like in Gaza, like they think that they won in some way, or same with like Hezbollah, like for some reason they think that they like won and like they're like really high on their own like messianic supply, if you know what I'm saying. And I just think that they're really I think they're really missing like what's the phrase? They're uh missing the forest for the trees or whatever. Like they're seeing their like individual successful tactical operations, but they're never seeing the big picture of like the direction that their country is going in terms of like both political and like military outcomes is like getting worse and worse by the day. So it's very interesting to me to watch that sort of disconnect. And I do think that eventually it'll probably just collapse in on itself like a dying star, but I don't know. It might be a while still.
Support of the war. According to the
Because it already would have if America didn't give them unlimited money to support their apartheid, but
Israeli
yeah.
Democracy Institute, only 11% of the population opposes it. The protest organizers say demonstrations will continue in the coming days.
Oh, hell yeah. Let's get to that real shit. Sorry, that was funny. Um, yeah, okay, so just real quick outro on that last video. Yeah, I think that there's never going to be an anti-war, like a true like anti-war movement that will have any effect in Israel. I don't think. Um, the nation state of Israel is based on a fascist Nazi ideology of Zionism, right? So it will only become more and more like insane and contradictory, like self-contradictory, and even as it's like losing, it's going to keep pushing, right? Like even for instance, like even as the Nazis were like, were like politically and like militarily starting to lose, that didn't stop them from like continuing to try to expand their territory all over the place, right? Um, so like I think that and it's what it eventually led to its like downfall. So I think that we'll see the same thing like the Nazis of yesterday. The Nazis of today will eventually overplay and overextend their hand and will eventually fall. But yeah.